Good morning, everybody. Down here in the corner. Perfect timing, Kilsey and crew. Perfect. Look at that. They're on top of it. It's great. They finished up. Yes, yes, yes. So we can turn away from that. But look what popped up right after Kilsey. Wow, look at this. Look at this video that YouTube decided to play to me. Wow, that one goes back. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me hobbling with the walker. That's got to be one of my first kitchen videos after my stroke. Wow, wow. Look how slow I'm moving. I can't stand without support. You know, sometimes I have to watch these things to remind myself how far I've come, because when you're recovering from a stroke like I am, it just seems like it's taking you forever. And it's probably great to have these videos just to make me feel good about how I am recovering, because it happens in seemingly small increments. This was probably, what's the title? Back in the Kitchen, How I Cope with Cooking My Meals During Stroke Recovery. This has to be, how long ago was it? Let me see what it says. It says 4 months ago. Look at that. Wow, wow, wow. Maybe I need to jack myself up and get more excited about the rate I'm recovering and celebrate the achievements. Maybe that's would be great for my attitude. At any rate, look at me. I couldn't even stand up to do the cooking. I had to sit down to start cooking. Wow. That was after the days when I couldn't do anything without a wheelchair. What have I got there? Ribs. Oh, okay. Mitch is going to have some ribs. Well, get away from that. What? That's cool. That was really, really cool. Wow, wow, wow. Brings back memories. So how's everybody this morning? How's everybody? Good to see you all. And people are coming in. We've got 83 here so far. Tuning in. Everybody's tuning in this morning. Sometimes I say to myself, Mitch? What? I say, Mitch, maybe you should actually script all this drama into your live stream, because people pay attention. And I say, but surely this is not NASCAR. I say, surely people aren't just coming here to see the crashes. I would hope that the main reason most people come to see me in the morning is to be inspired. But yeah, Mitch, I say to myself, you seem to be descending into a lot of drama these days. And when I get that far in the conversation with myself, because at that time, I have nobody around to talk to, that's when I start to really be honest with myself. What are my motives? What am I trying to get across? Have I strayed from the reason that I'm really doing this, and the reason that I don't want to give it up and I come here? The companionship, the community, the friends. Do I really care what they think and believe? And I've always said, no, I have this button to remind me. That's not what I care about. I really care about whether you're doing well, whether you've got certain problems or obstacles in trying to execute this carnivore diet that you're running into. And is there something inspirational based on me as an example that I can do, basically, to pat you on the back and say, if I can do it, you can do it. And here's where maybe I think you're being misled or going wrong. And that's when the rest of the world and their influences on us come into the picture. And then in examining what those influences that might be sidetracking us are, I start focusing on everything that's wrong with the world in general. And that's not a good road to go down, not for me, because I've had so many personal run-ins with the lunatics in the world in all things. And maybe why I overreact when I even get the feeling that somebody is trying to force some of their views that I don't share on me and corner me into answering questions like, how do you explain that Noah lived to be 350 years old? And I get triggered by that, because that is the typical tactic of somebody who is an activist and trying to provoke people. And me, being a sensitive human being, I fall for it every time. I fall for it every time. And that's my fault. And that's my damage. And we all are damaged in one way or another after a lifetime of being manipulated by those kind of people, using the tactics that are easily recognizable, the tactic of the false premise, for example. So what I should do is I should laugh my ass off at a question like that, thank the person who put it in there, and throw it back on them, or just ignore it. Ignoring it is the best thing, because you know me, the last thing I want to do is debate. How would I explain why Noah lived to be 350 years old? In my mind, a rant is developing about that person's gullibility and stupidity to even ask a question like that, but that's not their motive. Their motive is provocation. Unfortunately, our world today is not doing too well. And today is a blaring example of that. And it's so blaring that even in the thumbnail on this video, I replaced the text in red on the thumbnail that normally says, drink it if you got it. Think I will. Thank you. You too. Drink it if you got it, in case I haven't told you that yet. But today is 9/11. any of us that aren't children instantly place ourselves back to the place and time where that message, where the airplane flew into the image we saw on TV. None of us can forget not only where we were, but how absolutely a single event can change the complete course of humanity. And life in this country has never been the same. We never used to take our shoes off at the airport and our belts off. We're lucky they let us keep our pants on. Four years ago, we were all running around wearing rubber gloves and masks and washing the outside of the packaging of everything we bought at the supermarket. They did it to us again. What happened yesterday, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you can't not talk about this. Kilty didn't talk about it, but it affects everything. And eventually affects the things we're doing. Because everything is interconnected. My first thought when I heard that, and I heard it before they knew he had died. I heard it early enough. I saw a YouTube live feed from some news station where he was shot. They didn't know where they took him yet. Somebody took him. I don't think it was an ambulance. I think it ended up somebody actually threw him in a car and they drove him. But the first thing I saw was a release, a statement from Trump, who basically said Charlie Kirk is dead. I love Charlie Kirk. I admire Charlie Kirk. He was a young kid, 31 years old. The thing that bothered me about the news coverage of it is they already had a label for him. They already had a label so that their side of the political aisle could already be spinning a narrative about how and why and who. They didn't have the who yet. They have no idea of the why. They didn't know if it was a trans activist, whether it was liberal, whether it was a conservative, whether it was politically motivated at all, whether this particular shooter was just a psychotic and unlucky Charlie happened to be the recipient, and know nothing, but they've already got it all figured out, and they're already spinning the narratives and their agendas and their brainwashing to tell their followers what they want to hear. And the first thing I noticed was the word in front of the name Charlie Kirk and all of the titles of all of the videos that popped up on YouTube from all of the liberal media. It said, activist Charlie Kirk was shot. And I said, here we go. Here we go. Is this going to be another one of these 9/11 life in America as we know it changing events? And I said, if it keeps going like it is, and each side comes out and keeps screaming and yelling and moaning about how the other guy did it, yes, it could divide us even further. Do we let it? That's up to us. That's up to us. The sadness of it, the absurdity of it, the uselessness of it, the mental illness so prevalent in this country just becomes more and more evident. And I have the answer. I have all the answers. At least I tell myself that. I have all the answers. I understand everything, how it happens. I understand the root causes of everything. I know how to fix everything. I know you think that might be arrogant of me, but it's all so simple. It's all so simple. The answer is eat meat. Eat meat, period. That's it. Eat meat. Stop eating plants. Just eat meat. Your brain will hear you. You'll start thinking normally. You'll stop being an idiot psychopath believing in God knows whatever. And the problem over a generation or two will fix itself. It's that simple. There you go. Misha says meat. Yes, Misha. Eat meat. Yeah. My brother says mainstream news is a bunch of crap. Yes, it is. It is not even news. They should label it properly. They should say, "Good morning, and now here's the propaganda brought to you by," and state your side of the aisle, the left or the right. I don't respect either of them. They're all playing the same game. I see that. But they all have skin in the game. They have money in the game. It's the reason we're in this dietary mess that we're in. It's all about money and power being sold to us as we care more about you than they do. So this us against them mentality that has pervaded this country for as long as I have been observing this stuff just gets worse and worse. And it's not just about diet, and it's not just about religion, and it's not just about politics. It's about every aspect of our entertainment. And news is really entertainment these days. It's drama. It's see who gets the most clicks, who has the most compelling teasers on TV. News at 11. Why don't they just tell you, if you got news, here's the news, blah, 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 now get on with your day. No. We're going to pique your interest. We're going to tease you. We're not going to let you find out what this thing is that's going to kill your whole family until 11 tonight. And not only that, but we're going to make you wait until 11:55, right before the newscast ends. We'll tease it through the whole newscast just to keep you watching and seeing all our commercials. That's how it works. And recognizing the tactics that are used against us all the time, and watching people who haven't gotten that yet, who really don't understand that, and can't recognize the tactics, watch them fall for it. And then use what the brainwashing that they just received to come into my live stream in the morning and tell me I'm wrong about something. That's what gets me. That's the trigger that I basically say, do I need this? So in this long talk I had with myself, I said, I have to make a decision. I have to make a decision because this is causing me stress. I recognize it. I'm not just going off half crazy. It's causing me stress. It's causing me worry. Is somebody going to get mad enough at me to want to try to kill me? That's happened to YouTubers. Do I want to expose myself to the idiots of the world who are on some kind of a mission and think it's like the guy that killed Charlie Kirk yesterday? And that's one of the first things that I thought about when I saw the news story. I said, Charlie Kirk is dead. Charlie Kirk has never tried to do anything but inject common sense and reality into the public discourse. He's a young kid, good looking, great personality, very smart, makes good points. probably one of the key players in the media effort on the conservative side to help bring this country back from the precipice that it was. But again, that's politics, and I should stay away from that. But this was Charlie Kirk, and somebody killed him. Is somebody going to be that incensed about something I may say that they want to come and kill me and they've got nothing better to do? I said, well, not likely, Mitch, because you're certainly not big enough or famous enough. But then I remember hearing stories of people on YouTube that have had to change their name and their identity and move for no reason because they basically said something that somebody else didn't like. And that's the same somebody else that tries to run you off the road and kill you if they think you maybe cut them off by accident. They're out there. And every day I'm convinced that more and more people are losing their minds, what's left of them. And the way my mind works, I go back to the root cause and say, why are all these people losing their mind? It's the diet, stupid. Fix the diet. Well, how do I fix the diet? So then I, of course, want to come up with the solution because I'm Mitch. I want to help. I really want to help. Even if by helping it only lessens the danger of somebody coming to kill me. How absurd is that? That I'm a 78-year-old, bald-headed old guy talking about the carnivore diet, and I got half of the vegans on the planet that want to shut me up. I don't want to shut them up. I don't care what they do, but they want to shut me up because they are activists. I shouldn't have to worry about that stuff. And when I start worrying about that stuff, I say, why am I doing this? And the trigger gets a little hairier. And it doesn't take much. And when I do react like that, am I being too sensitive? Because the people that do trigger me don't care about me. They don't care about you. They're here to see if they can instigate trouble. Because that seems to be the new hobby in our country. So then I had to sit, like I did the most of the day yesterday. I answered some emails. A lot of you have emailed me, and very encouraging. Reminding me that I've helped you so much. Don't go anywhere. We love you, Mitch. Yeah, and that's great. But I don't want to go away. I'm like this. This has become a part of my life. Being with you guys. I'll never appeal to everybody. I can't. But if anybody can identify with something about me, and maybe, or maybe not, be helped by what I do and using myself as an example, I'm not trying to change anybody. Certainly, I don't want to change the minds of anybody that doesn't agree with me. I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to debate anymore. I'm tired of that. I don't want to sell my ideas. Not for money, not for nothing. I don't want to have to be a salesman anymore. Everybody's selling something. As far as I'll go is, sell you on the idea of buying me a coffee once in a while and using my Amazon links. That's it. I'm not going to become an air fryer bitch man. I think they're great tools. I think you should have one. I think it makes carnivore easy for you, but I can't waste any more time or energy making videos so that air fryers, and it doesn't mean I don't believe in it. I love this type of thing I got, but I'm not going to be making any more videos designed to send you to my link so that I might make $20 commission if you buy a type of air fryer. I don't care. I don't need the money that bad. We all need money, but I'm not worried about it. And I misunderstood Lori. I see Lori in the chat today. Peter, this is okay. Peter's talking to Lori, and Peter talking, and Lori is one of my dearest viewers, and she put something in the chat yesterday, right at the end of the stream, and I misunderstood it because it was a little nebulous, the comment. And I kind of said to her, I'm sorry, Lori, if you feel the need that you have to just not watch me anymore, I will miss you. And she came back on after I stopped watching. And there's Lori. I love you, bitch. Yeah, back at you, Lori. And I got an email from Barry Simon, who is a prince. I got an email from Barry Simon that said, I think you misunderstood Lori. She explained right afterwards that that's not what you meant. I felt like shit after that. I said, oh no, I made Lori feel bad. So I emailed Lori. I actually emailed her and apologized for the fact that I misunderstood and hoped that. And she emailed me back a few minutes later and said, I was just going to email you and thank me for preempting her email. And I guess that was important to her, that it was on my mind, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. My feelings are bolstered this morning, and I'm sorry I'm going on so long like this, but these are things that have to be said. Peter emailed me yesterday, put his phone number in there. Peter and I never talked on the phone. I am very guarded of my phone number. As well we should be on YouTube. We have to be, because of the lunatics. If the world didn't have lunatics in it, we would need to have locks on our doors. But we have to have locks, and alarm system, and security cameras. That's the world we live in. No different. They had bars on the doors back in 100 years ago. There's always somebody wants to hurt you and take your stuff. That's the human race. We have to live with that. The people, it's very sad, but it's the fact of life. It's life in the jungle. The other animals feel they need to take your stuff in order for them to survive. I just hope we never descend into a situation where we have to go back to that and kill our neighbors to get their food, or else we'll die, because that'll happen. That'll happen. We like to think we're more civilized than that, and anybody thinks we're that civilized, just look around at the behavior of the human race in general. Street gangs in particular. They're sociopaths. They have no empathy. But I thought it was necessary. I apologized to Lori and had one of those long talks with myself. Decided what was really important for me. Decided that I can't panic about somebody trying to kill me. I'm trying not to give people reasons to kill me, which is why I don't call people names. I never say things to people like, how stupid are you? I never insult people. I don't want to debate with people. I pleaded with you all yesterday. Pleaded with you. Just do me one favor. Stop trying to sell me or anybody else in my case your religion by quoting scripture and things like that in my chat. Do it anywhere else you like. I don't care. But please, consider me Professor Mitch. I do this because I view it as kind of like a classroom where I would hope people would even pay attention to what I'm saying and don't just come in my classroom to sit in a corner, continue the ongoing conversations they have and throw spitballs around. Because if I was a teacher and this was my classroom, I would throw them out. and reserve the right to. And then I said, okay, if people start doing that, just throw them out. But the problem is I can't keep up with it fast enough. I can't keep talking and focusing on different subjects and monitoring the chat. I could get a moderator to do that, but I don't want to. I want to be able to know that the people in my classroom are here because they want to listen to me. And I endeavor to make it as interesting as possible and engage in the question. Now, Peter is asking Rick what Milton is saying. See, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You guys, you're doing your own thing. I'm sitting here talking from my heart, and you're just doing your own thing, and I can't stop it, and I don't want to stop it. But please, I think I need to refocus this back to staying on topic. And there are nonstop live streams for this community all day long. Plenty of time for everybody to get together. There's Discord servers. There's all kinds of places to go and chit-chat about what Milton is doing. Okay? Go easy on me, guys. Most people who host a live stream are encouraging more and more and more chat entries. And the reason is that YouTube sees that as a sign of an engagement. I want to encourage fewer chat entries that aren't on topic. I know it. That's not why so many of you come here. But I wish I could pick out from this chat that's rolling by anything that might be of interest and help that maybe I can help with or talk about. But I can't pick that out in this sea of trivia that goes by in front of me. And yet, it tickles me to death to see people being such great friends. So I'm kind of at a kind of a loss on how to deal with it. And sometimes I don't deal with it very good. Yeah, Rick says, I like to chat so YouTube gets more recommendations out. I don't care, Rick. I don't want recommendations. It's not why I'm here. I'm not trying to be a star. I appreciate that many people think they're helping me. And basically I'm saying, don't help me so much. It makes it too hard for me to do my job. Barry, good morning to you, my friend. Super chat. Eat meat, watch Mitch, sleep, and repeat. There you go. There you go. Eat Mitch. Now, he isn't saying, just don't get him wrong. He's not saying that you're supposed to watch me sleep. There's a missed comma opportunity there. So I'm not sleeping in. I don't want anybody watching me sleep. He says, eat meat, comma, watch Mitch, comma, sleep, and repeat. And I'm going to be very presumptuous in assuming that's what you were really saying, that you didn't expect people to gather in my bedroom at night to keep me company while I cut some Z's. Of course, that would be nice, but very unpractical. So thank you, Barry. Thank you. Lawyer Weitzel says, Barry, you're beautiful. So yes, you are, Barry. Yes, you are. Barry says, what is that? I'm trying to read that last comment. It just a thumbs up or something. Yeah, thank you, Barry. Thanks so much, my friend. Barry, you really helped me out yesterday with that email. I really appreciated that. Telling me about Lori, because the last thing I want to do is alienate or hurt the feelings of any of the really wonderful people I've met in here who just get caught up sometimes. And one of the reasons I don't text a lot on the phone is because typed words sometimes can be taken so many different ways when you don't hear them spoken. you don't hear the inflections in the tone, the cadence, or the context. They can be taken. Or good old Google can come in and autocorrect you right into trouble. And who among us hasn't that happened to? So at any rate, that's my little speech. I appreciate all the worry. I hope you're not here for the NASCAR crashes. Will I ever be triggered again? Probably. Sometimes I go down these boring rabbit holes in an effort to make somebody understand something that I understand and it took me a lifetime to figure out. And I understand that maybe I'm not teaching it well enough, explaining it well enough, because you don't think like I do. And I forget that sometimes. I appreciate the few people in the chat earlier who basically said, please, no religion, no politics. I think that's a good policy. I don't want to talk about it. When I say religion, it should always be prefaced by the words or the word organized, or followed up by the term dogma. I've heard that there are 20,000 different religions on this planet now. So when you say don't discuss religion, you're not being very specific. If you say, I will never say don't discuss spirituality, personal, inner spirituality, which is where I live. And I think Kelsey does too, and I think we believe in debate. Don't stop believing that there is a connection. We all feel it, and we can't explain it. So we attribute one version of these 20,000 different religious dogmas and turn it into a club, but try to make it exclusive. Find reasons to hate everybody that doesn't believe the way they do, and the world is the mess that it is. But I will never tell anybody, stop being curious about this situation on this planet with thinking sentient beings and how it got here. So don't get me wrong. I'm not an atheist. Atheist is a term. A theist is somebody with religion. An atheist is somebody without. The term agnostic, and again, who defines these terms? But the term agnostic is where I kind of am, if you want to take the literal definition of it. And I hate to even use the three-letter G word, because that word in everybody's mind has a different meaning. I'm kind of Star Wars guys. I like to use the word force. That describes it more aptly. May the force be with you. I don't know how you say force in Spanish, but I know that adios in Spanish means go with God. How would you say go with the force in Spanish? And I'll stop saying adios and start saying that, because that's what I really mean. Because there are forces out there. We know about that. Because nothing would be if there weren't any forces. If there weren't forces that held electrons in an orbit around a neutron in an atom, there weren't molecular forces that held molecules together. There wasn't gravity, magnetism, and all that. So there are forces. And that's where I keep looking for the answers. And I've discovered so much. So I'm a very spiritual person. Very spiritual. But it's the dogma. It's the stories. It's the self-serving things that humans do that never existed before humans woke up. The animal kingdom does not concern itself with whether somebody is a Jew or Catholic. Believe me. But we've got a story for that too. Listen, in our deviousness, we can invent stories for anything. Usually, if you look back enough, the one phrase that I always loved was, religion is the opiate of the masses. And I'll let you interpret that for yourself. But I'm not an atheist. I do believe there is something, and the word agnostic simply means believes in that force, but accept the fact that at our current level of understanding of the universe, that force would be both unknown and unknowable. And that's the most important part of the definition of the word agnostic. Unknowable in a framework of our reality. And I leave it at that. That's good enough for me. I throw that back into the category of what happened before the Big Bang. Well, if I could comprehend what happened since the Big Bang, I'm way ahead of the game as far as understanding the realities of the universe. And there's a certain point you have to say, I just have to take that for granted. We're just beginning to learn. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm perfectly fine. I know people are worried about me, all 120 of you that are hanging here with me this morning. I'm flattered that you're all here. I'm in a good mood this morning. I'm in a good mood. And I'm my own best psychotherapist. And yes, I have issues too to work through. Who among us doesn't? I don't trust people that have no issues. I don't trust them. Michael Pregler, I'm always in a good mood. I noticed that. And Mark C., thank you so much, Mark C. I saw that you had bought 5 Old Guy Carnivore gifts. And tonight on that note, wow, I have burned up on most of this hour already. But thank you for listening. If you all want to be paid as my therapist, just, send me an invoice. I'll laugh at you, but you could try. Mark C's 5 Old Guy gift memberships, and who got them? Retired Rick. Oh my God, these people. These people have been members of the private community at one time or another and dropped out. Reminds me of the scene from The Godfather, where Al Pacino said, just when I thought I was out, they dragged me back in. Sorry, guys. Josephine C., we're dragging you back in. Retired Rick, we're dragging you back in. Chris Kennedy got a gift membership. Abiding You. And Tammy, kicking and screaming, being dragged back into the private community. Take advantage of it. We miss you, all you guys that used to be here. And if you don't want to, that's okay too. I won't think any the less of you. Jerry, how you doing? I didn't say hi to too many people today. Gary was member for 12 months. Hi, Mitch. No chat for me. Back to listening. Good to see you here, Gary. And I'll see you tonight. We'll chat tonight. I'm hoping to have a really great live stream among my friends tonight. I felt it was necessary to do this today, not just so maybe you could understand why the drama, but it's cathartic for me. It's cathartic for me. It's like confession for me. Because I don't hide anything from you guys. I want you I do want you to know me. It's tough to do over a YouTube feed. I don't want to just be that guy. You wonder, what's he really up to? What's he really trying to sell us? I'm not here to sell. Although you have to on YouTube, or you won't get anywhere. See, that's the treadmill I talked about the other day. We're slaves to YouTube. Once you get started in this, you either have to stay on the treadmill, never slow down, never rest, or they leave you behind and just pick up what the next guy they can use and use up. But isn't that true pretty much of everything in life? They begin to take you for granted and figure out ways to reward you less and less, yet keep you running. Who was first in? B was here. Gotta credit Aunt B. Aunt B, I'm the first for a change. You were. Yes, you were, B. And everybody chimed in. Peter and Jem. Hi, Jem, if you're here. I read that. I did read the early chats. Watching about Charlie Kirk, only 31, beautiful wife and 2 children, dead for what? That's a question every human being who considers himself an American, in the world for that matter, should be demanding an honest answer, not the left spin or the right spin or the news anchor's spin, but for what? Can we even ever know for what? What drove? And I don't even know if they caught him yet because I haven't watched the news because I can't watch the news anymore. I just can't watch it. It's not news. It's not news. And I'm not interested in their opinions. I'm not looking for somebody who tells me what I want to hear. And that's why people tune in to the left channels or the right channels, because they know that whatever their views happen to be, right or wrong, are going to be reinforced by the propaganda being spewed out of the mouth of those idiots that call themselves news anchors. Or news readers is what they are. Most of them, a lot of them were hired to read the news just because they were pretty people, both men and women, because that's more important than their brains in a lot of cases. At any rate, so sad. What is this crazy world coming to? Sorry. Hope to see you in the AM. Jem? Sweetie, I could not have said it better myself. And I read that, and I just said, yep, that about says it all. That about says it all. And then you didn't need to apologize, Jim, because yes, this is a carnivore channel, and I don't ever want anybody to get the feeling that they can't talk about anything that they want to talk about. I kindly ask you, leave your religious doctrine out of it, but I can't demand that you do that. And I really don't want to lose any friends over that, because I am really a firm believer that people should be free to believe whatever the hell they want, no matter how silly it is, as long as it doesn't hurt other people. That's a hell of a qualifier when you start to think about it. Especially on 9/11, where 3,000 people died because a whole religion decided that their God demands that they kill you if you don't believe what their God demands that you believe. And the fact that you can even put that in words and it's understandable is a scary thing too. Rick chimed in last night, Lady June, Bob Black, me, Cool Cat. The gang's all here. The gang's all here this morning, and I'm happy to see everybody. Still got a little time left. Wow. Let me run real quick through here and see. I know I've been going on and saying things that I needed to say, and I hope you actually heard some of it between the conversations. Early on in the chat, 3 minutes after 7, right after my opening, showing that, God, what a fortuitous event that YouTube decided at that moment to play a video of me in the kitchen 4 months ago, just to remind me how far I've come. And I'm so glad that I chronicled some of it, that I filmed so much of my stroke recovery, so I can look back on it. And occasionally I watch one of the older videos, because I watch YouTube from my other channel. And of course, on my other channel, whose videos do I watch more than anybody else's? Well, me. Of course, I watch every morning. I rewatch our live stream to try to keep up with the chat and read what happened. And maybe I shouldn't do that. And there are times of the day, and I mean, this may sound silly, but if you've ever sat there with a remote in your hand, trying to find something to watch, to take your mind off of things for a change. You're not going to watch the news. I don't like sports. A lot of times I find myself cruising around looking at 50, 60, 70-year-old movies. I think the world was, even with world wars and things like that, I think the world was a happier place and human beings had more sanity back then. I like to sometimes watch some of these old movies before cell phones, before technology, before this. I sometimes will watch an old science fiction movie where you can actually see the string holding up the flying saucers and swing. I love those things. Old Buck Rogers. And there are times when I get to the point where I say, hell with it. I go to my channel. I find an old video of my own. And I sit there and I look at it. And I say to myself, what a sad commentary on the human race and the stuff that interests them is that this is the best thing that I can find right now out of 5,000 channels and 1 million choices that I'm watching myself because I think it's the most intelligent thing on TV. And it's not even from an ego point of view. I forgot all that stuff that I said, and sometimes I sit there listening as if I've never heard it before. So YouTube thinks that I'm my greatest fan, and that's why they fed me that old video of mine this morning after Kilts ended. And that's the only reason. There was no divine intervention. You guys have been talking a lot about creatine and leucine. And I got to tell you, I'm more and more convinced that the benefits of that for aging, especially if you're in your late 70s. I don't know if I'd suggest that for 30, 40, 50-year-olds yet. You know, go to the gym every day and work out. But boy, when you get older and you can't work out like you did because your joints can't take it, you're starting, me, it was a stroke, but you're starting to have sarcopenia where your muscle mass is going away because you're just not able to use it strenuously enough to rebuild it. I really think that the strategy that I zeroed in on with leucine in morning coffee is really working. It's really starting to work. I'm definitely noticing an increase in all my muscle strength, not just my arm, but even my legs. And I'm not working out that hard. This stuff is just stimulating muscle growth. That is very, very good. Now, there is leucine in most of the foods we eat. It's one of the most common amino acids. Eggs are loaded with it. But I just think that the strategy of coupling it with the caffeine in the coffee and ingesting it right after you hydrate in the morning, first thing, before you start processing any food, really gets it where it needs to be, and you really start to feel the benefit of it. So until I notice different, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I have a comment about, and I'm going to try to, as I talk, I'm going to try to walk and chew gum at the same time here. I'm going to try to look for any questions that came up or comments, but with the QQQs, I may miss them. Oh, how could I can't miss this. Francine says, why is the meat from ruminants so much better for our health? Well, that would require a long explanation. It's the way the animal processes the plants that it eats to turn it into meat. And a ruminant animal is a multi-chambered stomach. A monogastric animal, like we are and like a pig is, or a chicken, has one stomach. In a ruminant animal, it's fermentation from gut bacteria that actually create the stuff the meat is made out of. In order for that fermentation to be complete, you got to have a hind gut and multi-chambered stomachs. You have to be an animal that chews its cud. You have to have the physiology and the places for the stuff to ferment over periods of time, and then the right strains of bacteria will turn all that plant matter, all of it, into what in essence is animal matter, into free fatty acids and animal proteins and amino acids. And that is what the meat gets built out of. So imagine that there's poisons in plants and that you have a machine. Imagine those poisons in plants are like, and I'm going to try to make a simple analogy and leave it at that. Imagine that somebody told you that there's poisons in your drinking water. And you would say, well, what do I do about it? You say, well, it depends on the machine that you have. We have this machine, which is a Brita water filter over here. You can pour the water in, and it'll get most of the stuff out. But it's not that intricate. It does it pretty quick. It just drips down through it. And the water be okay. Or we have this $5,000 water processing plant over here that has multiple chambers in it, and plumbing and pipes and specialized chemicals that go after each of the impurities and turn them into, and it's going to take 2 or 3 days for the water to get through all this machine. But I got to tell you, when the water gets through all of that machinery and all that stuff worked on it, it's going to be the purest drinking water you could ever find. And there'll be none of the impurities that were let by the Brita filter. And that's the analogy. They're all eating plants. The monogastric animals like pigs, chickens, and like that are the Brita filter. The ruminant animals their machinery is so much more complicated and sophisticated that not a single hint of what ends up as steak or meat really started out as plants. Now, that's why people tell us that our gut biome is so important as a monogastric animal. In reality, the only reason we need a gut biome at all is because we're eating poison. And this is where I love Kelsey. He's one of the few people you ever hear say this besides me. The ideal would be not to need any bacteria, because none of what you ate ever even gets into your colon. It's all necessary, because there's no remnants of the plant poisons in it. You only need the gut bacteria. You only need the microbiome. Only need the microbiome. If you're eating the poisons, the remnants of the plant poisons that you need to try to get rid of, is it better not to eat the plant poisons? You bet your bippy it is. So that's the answer to that question, and I'm glad I got to answer a question today. Thank you, Francine. It's a great question. So yes, it's better for us and healthier for us, and you're less likely to have any kind of problems from eating ruminant meat, which is basically what our ancestors ate. Our caveman ancestors weren't really herding chickens or even pigs way back when. They were hunting big, hairy mammoths and other ruminant animals. So that's a question. Yes, I actually did get a question. It's 8 o'clock. I got a little more time here, but I'm happy to answer a question, and I hope that answer was meaningful to people, because that's why you really come here. I would hope, anyway. So let me scroll through here real fast and see if I did it. Peter says to me, Wayne Herman rather, where were you 24 years ago today? Wow, it's hard to believe. I'll tell you real quick. 24 years ago today, it was early in the morning, 8 o'clock. My hobby was flying radio control model jet airplanes. Very expensive, fast, and I was getting ready to go to a fly-in somewhere, either up in Illinois, when I had this trailer, an 8x16-foot dual tandem, dual axle trailer, and I needed to have the brakes fixed, brake pads replaced. So I drove the trailer over to the trailer place in Orlando, and they started working on it, and I sat down. I sat down in their waiting room, and they had this little old, probably a 13-inch TV sitting up on top of a file cabinet, and it was on. And I looked up at that TV, and I saw the pictures of the airplane flying into the World Trade Center. That's where I was. I will never forget that, and I'll never forget the first thought went through my mind is that forget everything we knew about life in this world now. Things will be changing drastically from this moment on. And God, was I right about that? Because we didn't worry about that stuff before 9/11. Oh, we knew that the Arab nations wanted to kill Americans. We knew that we were infidels. We knew that their religion imposed a death sentence on people who did not believe what they believed, and they still do. See, I see that as the end result. That chaos is what this, I don't want to talk about religion, but that's one of the problems. Let's leave it at that. Okay, maybe I shouldn't read these things, because that way I can't get ticked off if I don't read them. But I like that one. Thank you, Lori. Thank you. The gang is all here. Angelasso is here. Says, good morning, Mitch. How you doing? Barry Simon, prolific. Aaron is here. Great to see you all this morning. And I'm happy. And life is good. And if I see my viewership drop off too much, I'll have to inject a little more drama in this and maybe go on a rant. And maybe that's why people come here. What's Mitch going to rant about today? And I suppose that Need to do that at least once. Make everybody feel welcome. Good morning, Rick. And, all right, getting past that. What time are we up to? 7:35. I got half an hour behind. Not too bad. It was Mark C. gifted the 5 memberships. Thank you. Just when you thought you were out, they drag you back in. Oh, I'll look at this. Mark Mayer also gifted 5 old guy. How did I miss that? Mark, thank you very much. So many marks, so many gift memberships. Wow. Thank you, Mark. But let me see who got gifted. I have to scroll way back in this chat. Remember, 12 months. There it is, Mark Mayer. Well, thank you. How did I miss that? That's what I'm talking about. I get going. I can only pay attention to so much. Unretired Carnivore. Gift membership. Somebody named Steve. Good. Hi, Steve. Joyce B. Mary Carl, K-R-L-E, and Evelyn. Welcome. Welcome, my friends. Hope to see you tonight. Hope to see you tonight. Jem says there's a question above. Jem, oh, here it is. Okay. That prime rib from Sam's, how was it and how did you cook it? Does it taste better than the ribeye? Did I only got ribeyes. I may call it a prime rib occasionally, but a prime rib is a ribeye. A prime rib is a roast, and if you slice it up, you get ribeyes. So it's the same meat. It's the same meat. A lot of times it'll be called a rib roast, but a prime rib roast or a prime rib is what ribeye is. And I sometimes, in the speed of explaining things, the words prime rib may come out instead of ribeye. But yeah, it was actually good. I've still got some of them left because I've seen to be eating more burgers lately because they're just easier. I got one of them I'm going to have tonight for my second meal if I get to it. The problem is a lot of times I eat such a big first meal around noon that I don't eat anymore for the rest of the day. I just don't want it. But I had thought this thing out because it's the way I want to try cooking it. I want to use that new Typher thermometer, Bluetooth thermometer, and I want to try to black and blue it. I want to try to make it real crisp, real on the outside and almost raw, but warm on the inside. And I'm going to do that today in the Typher air fryer. So we'll see how that works out. Probably film it. We'll see. We'll see. But the meat was great, and I think was it Ken Berry just did a thing. I didn't watch it, but did a thing about supermarket meat. Might want to find that and watch it. But the thumbnail said like buy your meat at a market or something like that. I can't watch everything too much, and I've been busy on top of everything else. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with that meat. Nothing wrong. One thing I took away from Kilt's show this morning is something I know most of you were there. A lot of you were there. He had a good guest. I watched the whole thing. It took me a little while to warm up to her. You know, we all prejudge people by their appearance first, and there were a lot of things about her that just reminded me of my second wife, and right away I felt repelled, but she was a great guest, very smart, and I agreed with everything she said by the end of the stream. Her name was Kimberly, I forgot. Anyway, She said, I haven't had a blood test in 17 years. I went, mm-hmm. My kind of girl. I don't count anything. She got questions about macros. She got questions about blood tests. And she basically says, I just go by how I feel. And I said, I believe that. And I pretty well decided that I am not going to have a physical this year at the VA. I'm going to just skip it, cancel it. I'm going to cancel it. There's nothing they can tell me. The best they can do is find a blood test number to be alarming and scare me with it. I don't need that. I don't need them to tell me that I'm not healthy when I know I am. I don't need them to tell me I'm going to die if I don't take this drug, that drug, and the other drug. I take my blood pressure. I never had a sugar problem. I'm thinking clearly. I have energy. I'm recovering well from my stroke. Why would do I need a doctor? And that was a point. That was a point that I just said, yes, we don't need a doctor to become an integral part of our lives so that we can consult with them every time we see a drug commercial. Ask your doctor if this is right for you. We don't need the doctors as partners in our lives. We certainly don't need them living in the mother-in-law suite in our house. We need them when something breaks. If we're eating right, if we're getting all the nutrition we need. Your cat shouldn't need a vet. The deer in the forest certainly does not have a vet. The cow in the pasture, well, they have vets because of people involved. And they feed them stuff they shouldn't be eating. But the need to constantly try to micromanage your health by testing everything and all these numbers, if you have no conditions that require treatment, and that's the exception. If you're dying and sick, you're diabetic and your sugar's out of control, yes, you need to intervene. But if you don't have these things and you eat healthy and you're moving around and you feel good, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't want to know what these numbers are. I don't want anybody else to know what these numbers are. They use these numbers against you whenever they can in the medical community. They screwed up my stroke care because of my high cholesterol. They did not do things they should have done when I was taken to the emergency room because of my high cholesterol. I am healthy because of my high cholesterol, and they don't know it. So I don't want them to know. If I have to be wheeled by ambulance somewhere, yeah, I got to turn myself over to them. They're going to take their blood test, and they're going to act according to their wrong knowledge of the physiology involved, because that's what we got in the medical system. And the only answer is to throw drugs and book you for your next appointment. Hand you the prescription, or 12, without a single word. What do you eat? When's the last time a doctor asks you that? What do you eat? What's your diet like? Never happens. How is that possible? When what you eat is the single most important determining factor of whether you're going to be healthy or not. It doesn't fit in with their agenda. The allopathic practice of medicine. Here's a disease, here's the drug. And if those drugs aren't enough, we're going to throw a new drug in your face on a TV commercial every day. And then you need to go into your doctor and say, Doc, How the hell have I lived this long without Cymbalta? I don't know. What is Cymbalta? Do I need it? Because they told me on TV that I won't be dancing if I don't take this stuff. Your doctor doesn't want to hear that, really. He doesn't have time for it. He's only got 3 minutes to see you and figure out what he's going to prescribe for you today. These people, they can't go away because it's too big a part of our economy, but they need to go back to school, and they need to teach them in school the things that are important. And unfortunately, the big fix for our whole healthcare problem would ruin the U.S. economy and throw us into the deepest depression we've ever had, and then we'd all starve to death. So, again, I say the best we can do is look out for ourselves and not try too hard to change everybody else, because they're going to become our competition at the meat counter until they finally, somebody gets a message somewhere and they stop growing so many plants and start growing cows instead. And in the meantime, we need to become survivalists, I think. Jim says, yes, Mitch, slaves to YouTube. Yeah, I can always tell what I was talking about by some of these comments. So let me get through this. Jim's like me. Since I'm sensitive and wear my heart on my sleeve. I do. And I don't want to be any other way. I want to be an open book. I don't want to be somebody that people always suspect, wonder what he's really up to. You don't have to worry with me. I'll tell you what I'm up to. Yeah. Oh, you guys are doing great today. Wow. I haven't found a single thing to piss me off. And I don't want to encourage it either. Jim says, Mitch, happy today, not grumpy. Me, sleepy of the 7 doors. Well, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Good to see you active in here. Good to see you. Yeah, that's where the mistake was, Jim. My son didn't pick up a prime rib. He picked up ribeyes. I mistakenly must have used the word prime rib because a ribeye is a prime rib. It is. You can buy a whole rib roast and then just slice it up, and you got ribeye steaks. So remember, all steaks have to be some kind of a roast, a big chunk of meat before they get cut up into individual steaks. Barry says to me, what have you noticed with iodine use? Absolutely nothing, Barry. And there is 2 drops of Lugol's in my coffee. I had absolutely no reason to start using the iodine. I watched a number of videos from many so-called experts who I have no reason to disbelieve. I had no thyroid problems or any other blood tests that would indicate that I needed iodine. I may not need iodine, but the case can be made that our soils are pretty much being raped of iodine through all the monocropping and treatment of the soils that we grow our plants in and in our pastures. And the only way that we can get iodine into us is to eat food that has iodine in it. So the next logical step is, are the cows getting their iodine? Is the grass the cows are eating getting its iodine from the soil if the soil is indeed being raped? So I said, can a drop or 2 of iodine hurt me? Can there be any negatives? Can I get iodine poisoning, for example, from 1 or 2 drops of Lugol's a day or every other day? Can it hurt me? And I didn't find any possible way that it could. Because our bodies, if we have excess iodine, we'll just pee it out. No big deal. Not poison in those doses. So I said, well, why not? It's no big deal. I'll get a little bottle of this stuff and put a drop or two in my coffee as a prophylactic measure, just in case. And that's why I use iodine. But no, I haven't. I can't tell you whether, oh, wow, since I put a drop of iodine in my coffee, my performance in the bedroom has tripled. No, sorry. Can't give you any, I won't use it. There's so many innuendos that I could go down, so many roads of innuendo I could go down with just this line that I started off on, that I will not subject you to that. CB Carmack, hi CB. I'm prepared for my last doctor's visit. Know my total cholesterol level was going to be high. I was shocked with 171. Wow, it's not. Not everybody gets high cholesterol from carnivore. Your cholesterol, your LDL, and it's not. I wish I could stop using the word cholesterol when I'm talking about LDL. There's so many things wrong with the way they measure that stuff and calculate it that I wonder sometimes if we can even rely on the numbers. But supposedly, some carnivores have, well, your doctor probably still thinks the total cholesterol of 171 is too high and probably is warning you that you need to be on a statin or you may not live to see the sunrise tomorrow morning. Me, I can pretty well know that my LDL is going to be 350, 400, and somewhere in there. That's always been that way. Probably always will. I think that's exactly where my body wants it. And now that I'm eating a correct diet, I think it's helping me. Because most of the valid studies and meta-analyses show that all-cause mortality goes down as your LDL goes up. How do you explain that, Mr. Doctor? How do you explain that? Barry Simon. Talking about the mild taste. You're talking about the iodine? I don't taste it in the coffee. Honestly, God, don't taste it. Don't taste it in the coffee. And I did it. Mama Bear says, Lugol's iodine gives me sneezes and runny nose. Wow, I've heard that before. I would say probably better that you don't take it. Mark C. bought me 3 coffees. Thank you, Mark. Very generous of you. Appreciate that. Have a great day, Mitch. See you tonight. Look forward to it. Mark. Thank you. And my girl supposed to come to clean my house wants to come on Saturday. They say, can I come on Saturday? Mike has to. Let me just answer her back, because this is important. That would be fine. You see how easy I am? You see how easy I roll with it? Saturday's my day off. It's probably a better day. Although I'm done for the day, I think. Got it, 8:30 already. Listen, my friends, you guys are starting to get tired of me. We're down to 97 viewers. I got to the end of the chat. I'm a happy guy. I will maintain that happiness throughout the day, and it will spill over into our live stream tonight at 7 o'clock. And after that, I will certainly be happy. And my wish is that you guys just get bored to tears with all this happiness coming from me. So, much better way to end the show today than yesterday. That's for Rick. Little happy music. Take a second and say goodbye to all your friends in the chat. And we'll get back down. Question, Mitch, don't forget to pitch the live stream tonight. Mark, thank you. Thank you. I just did. Mitch, unfiltered. I keep thinking about putting that on some video. You know, a little graphic of parents with their fingers stuck in their kids' ears because you never heard profanity like you've heard when I go off on something. I manage to filter it most of the time. Very rarely do I drop the F-bomb. But if I'm talking about something I'm passionate about, when I don't have an audience of unknowns listening, I can I can entertain with the best of the language. Believe me. And everybody's waving. CB says goodbye. Retired Rick says goodbye. Smoothie. Bye, Mitch and everyone. I hope to watch tonight, says Denise King. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in today. Thank you, everybody. And as the music winds down here, Rick compliments you. Mitch does a great job avoiding the potty mouth. Yeah, I don't consider it a potty mouth. I mean, if it was up to me, I think certain words would become just part of our vernacular. Sometimes they're really necessary to make the point you're trying to make. I just try to consider other people's sensitivities while I bear the brunt of their insensitivities. But such is life. All right, my friends, I will see you later tonight and again tomorrow morning. For those of you that aren't part of our deal on Thursday nights, that's okay too. And until then, take the rest of the day off. And most important, eat meat.